Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in. When you think about danger at your job, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it some big piece of machinery? A slippery floor? Well, what if the biggest threats are the ones you can't even see? Today, we're diving into the hidden dangers that might be all around you at work, the kind that can seriously affect your health over time.
So, let's talk about these invisible dangers. These are the persistent kind of low-level threats that can exist in almost any workplace, whether you're in a quiet office or on a noisy construction site. Let's break down what we're actually talking about.
We're all trained to look out for the obvious stuff, the falling objects, the big machines. But the most insidious risks are often the ones you don't really notice day to day. They're the kinds of things that just build up quietly over months or even years.
The International Labor Organization, or the ILO as you'll hear us call them, they have a name for this stuff: ambient factors. It sounds a bit technical, but it's really just the environmental conditions that are always there. Think about the constant hum or roar of a factory, or the non-stop vibrations from a power tool that you can feel in your bones long after you've put it down. It could be airborne dust, extreme heat, or even invisible radiation. It's the stuff that's just part of the background, day in and day out.
Okay, so if these threats are invisible, how in the world are we supposed to manage them? Well, that's where the ILO comes in. Back in 2001, they put together what is basically a global safety playbook, a foundational guide to get a handle on all of this.
And you know what's really cool about the ILO is its structure. It's not some top-down committee making rules. They're a tripartite agency, which is a fancy way of saying they bring three groups to the table: governments, employers, and the workers themselves. This collaboration is key, because it means everyone's voice gets heard when they're setting safety standards.
And this code of practice they created, it really is the ultimate playbook. It's not just some list of things you shouldn't do. It's a really practical, step-by-step guide on how to actually find, get rid of, or at least control these tricky ambient hazards at work. It's meant to be a roadmap to a safer workplace, no matter what industry you're in.
Now, here's a super important point. This code is not international law, okay? Nobody's going to jail for not following it. You should think of it more as an authoritative framework, a kind of gold standard. It's designed to guide countries as they develop their own national policies and laws. It provides a solid foundation for them to build on.
For this whole system to actually work, it all depends on a partnership. You can really think of it as a three-way handshake, where every single person involved has a vital role to play in keeping things safe.
See, safety isn't just one person's job. It's a shared responsibility, plain and simple. The code breaks down the key players into these three groups: the government, the employer, and of course, the worker. Each one holds a critical piece of the safety puzzle.
So first up is the competent authority. That's basically the government. Their job is to set the stage. They create the big picture, national policy, the main rules of the road for the whole country, which gives everyone a consistent framework to follow.
Next, you've got the employers. They're the ones who have to take that national policy and make it real on the ground. This is where theory turns into practice. They need to assess the specific risks in their own workplaces and then do everything they can to put controls in place to protect their people.
And finally, the workers. They have both a duty and a right. Their duty is to follow the safety rules that are set up. But just as important, they have the right and really the responsibility to speak up, to report any dangerous situation they see. They're the essential eyes and ears of any good safety program.
So you've got the three key players. But how do they all work together to actually manage these hazards? Well, it's not a one-and-done fix. It's a continuous cycle of assessment, control, and review. Let's walk through how it works.
This hazard management loop is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. First, you assess the risks. Then, you implement controls to deal with them. And finally, you review how well those controls are actually working. Assess, control, review. It's a cycle that keeps going to make sure the workplace is always getting safer.
Step 1, assessment, is all about getting the data. This is where you stop guessing and start measuring. This table is a perfect example. It's not just saying, using an air saw is loud. Nope. It's measuring the exact noise level, the precise vibration. This is how you move from just having a hunch about a risk to actually quantifying it.
So once you know the risk, the next step is to control it. And this is all about finding smart, practical solutions. Let's take a common problem, like carrying heavy loads. The old solution was just to tell people, lift with your knees. But a real solution goes way deeper. It's about using things like trolleys or carts, maybe making the packages smaller, or even changing the layout of the workplace to cut down how far things have to be carried. It's about fixing the system.
The last step in our cycle is review. And this isn't just a routine check-in. It's a critical moment to reevaluate your whole safety program. A review should be triggered by specific events. Maybe workers are complaining about health issues, or maybe an accident happened, or maybe you just changed how a job gets done. Any of these things should tell you it's time to review and make sure your safety system is still up to snuff.
But look, following this cycle, as important as it is really just the first step. To create a workplace that is truly safe, you have to move beyond just following rules and ticking boxes on a checklist.
Because here's the thing, you can have all the rules in the world, but if you don't have a true culture of safety, you're still at risk. A genuinely safe workplace is one where safety is everyone's responsibility, from the CEO all the way down. It's about building an environment where people feel safe to speak up, to point out hazards, and to look out for each other.
So what does a supportive culture really look like? Well, for one, it has to start at the very top. When management makes health and well-being a real priority, that sends a huge message. It means being proactive, not just reacting to problems. It means actually keeping in touch with employees when they're out sick, and making real adjustments for them when they come back. And it means making sure every single employee knows about the support that's available to them.
Which leaves us with one last thought. A checklist can make a workplace compliant, and that's essential, but it's the invisible stuff, the trust, the communication, the shared sense of responsibility that creates a real culture of care. And only that can make a workplace truly safe for every single person.